Happy 2017. You just caught me having a swig of water. Welcome, 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 one and all, to Seas of Wisdom with David Daniels, aka The Shy Man. It's a real blessing to be able to see 2017. We don't know when our time is up, and after the year that's passed, who knows what's going to happen in the future. But I'm really privileged to be with you here tonight. I've got my one of my main supporters, one of my main accountability partners, Utam, on the line. Utam, I'm loving the stuff you're putting out early in 2017. Keep the posts coming. Just keep doing you. Keep doing you. I look forward to what God has planned for you this year and for you and your family. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Ah, I'm smiling because I've got Susanna Marquez on the Facebook Live. Me and Susanna, we used to work in Barclays years ago. She's one of my sisters, man. I love her to pieces. Susie, I hope you're well. Sarah, thank you for joining the Facebook Live. I'm going to get interactive with you guys, so forgive me if I lose my train of thought. It's something I'm working on. So tonight's message is actually changed. It's actually changed as of today. Um, I was gonna do a Facebook. I was actually really looking forward to doing this Facebook Live that I had planned, and it's gonna come. It's gonna come in a week or two. But all I was gonna say it's gonna involve the word twerk. All right, and I'm gonna leave you with that. But the reason the message has changed is because actually someone someone contacted me and asked me. They're going through a particular situation, and they asked me for my thoughts on it, and I was really humbled. I was really humbled that someone's taken the time to actually ask me for my views on something. It shows that the action I put in last year has had a result in people. And I'm not. You won't see my Facebook lives at the moment. I'm not getting hundreds of people. I'm not getting tens. My YouTube channel is not getting thousands and thousands. It hasn't gone viral or anything like that. But that's okay because for that person to contact me, it's sometimes a cliche that we can affect just one person, but it really is true. I don't, I don't, I don't watch my numbers too much. Um, for that person to get in contact with me is I'm really truly humbled by it. So they asked me to speak on this particular subject, and they said, "When can I speak on it?" And I said, "Look, I'm doing it tonight. I'm doing it tonight because that's how much it means to me. If someone takes the time to reach out to me and asks me to speak on something, then I really take that seriously. I really value that. So that's my message tonight is for one particular person, and hopefully it will reach other people. But this is particularly for one particular person. And the few times that I've been asked to speak about something in particular, I always ask people if there's something you want me to speak about, let me know. The reason I do that is because I'm still new to this public speaking. I've just got in. I've just jumped in without having any training, just to get my feet dirty and to get better later on. And part of someone asking me to speak about something helps me refine and get better and challenges me as well. So that's why I ask. But the question I always ask myself when someone does ask me to speak on something, the first question I ask is, "Am I qualified to speak about this subject?" And I think this is about the third or fourth request I've had, and there's only been one area, one subject that I've. Hi Jody, how you doing? Hope I'm not disturbing your sleep. Lucy sent me your message the other day. So I'm always thinking, am I qualified to speak about this subject? And it's only been on one occasion where there's one subject that someone asked me to speak about that I haven't, because I just don't feel I'm qualified. What do I mean by qualified? So what I mean is this particular subject about guilt and forgiveness. I haven't studied guilt. I haven't studied forgiveness. I haven't got a degree in forgiveness. I am a Christian, as hopefully you all know. I'm not going to be reading off verses from the Bible because I just don't know them. I've still got a journey to grow in my faith. But why I consider myself to be qualified to speak about this is because I've had situations in my own life where I've been guilty of something, or I've sought forgiveness or something, or vice versa. And there's a lesson in that for everyone. For those of you who perhaps you don't feel you're qualified, whatever that means, to talk about something or to give advice, if you've experienced something in your life around the subject, then you're qualified, because there's no one else that's lived your life. There's no one else that can tell your story the way you tell it. So there's value in your story, my whole start in this journey was about talking about my shyness, and now what was once my biggest weakness is now becoming my biggest strength, because people are relating to my story, the things I've been through, the struggle, and it's helping people. So when you see people, professional public speakers, talking about things, and you may feel that you're not qualified, if you have a story, if you've lived through something, in my mind you're qualified. So don't let that stop you. Okay, so what I'm talking about tonight is someone's asked me, they've gone through a situation where they've done something that they're not proud of. They've got guilt on their mind, and they don't know what to do. That guilt is making them feel anxious, and it's making them sad, and they're seeking forgiveness from that person. So if any of you know me well, I can talk a good game on most things. I could talk a lot of theory and what have you, but I'm going to share a little bit of theory. But mostly, I'm going to share a story of my situation is, and hopefully this particular person and other people can learn from that. So, as you probably know, with my Seeds of Wisdom, I like to put a catchy title. I like to put something that engages people, it makes people intrigued to find out more about the message. It's something I did from when I was about 16, when I used to keep a personal diary, and I used to write like a newspaper headline every day before I'd write my message, and I kind of brought that to when I was doing Seeds of Wisdom. So most of my Seeds of Wisdom have got I like to think they're catchy titles. So I was trying to think of a title for this particular message, and kind of the best I could come with was like the G factor, like the X factor, the G factor, guilt factor. But then I thought about it, and I read the message that this person has sent me, and basically they said they wanted to find out about how to cope with guilt and how to seek forgiveness, and I thought I couldn't put it better myself. It doesn't have to be catchy, so that's the title of my message today. Before I jump in, I'm going to just see if I've missed out any comments. Utum says focus on the mission, not the views. Exactly, Utum. Exactly. Facebook Live and YouTube, the numbers are not. It's not an exact science to it. So I've never been one to focus on that. Stephen, I'm loving what you're doing this year. I'm loving the coaching you've got planned. I'm loving your posts and the podcast to come as well. Stephen Haggerty says, keep doing what you're doing. You're changing lives and reaching people. Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year to you as well. Tim, the Diary of Adrian Mo. You know what? I used to read that book. And that's bringing back memories. I forgot about that. And there used to be a TV show as well. Yeah, Adrian Mo. Wow. Most of you probably don't remember that. We're showing our age now, Tim, but that's all good. That's all good. Right. So, how do you cope with guilt and seeking forgiveness? Now, there's three particular situations in my life where I can really had situations of guilt and forgiveness. Two of them are quite personal to me, and they do really affect other people, so I'm not going to share them. But one I can talk about is so let's give a bit of background to this. So before I was with my wife, we've been together. We're coming into our 14th year, on and off. So before I was with another person, and we was together for about 2.5 years. A lot of stuff happened in that 2.5 years, very intense. And after I came out of that relationship, I was kind of grieving and what have you. So, but I was also a single person, so I was in debt at the time. I managed to work my way out of debt, and then I had my best friend at the time. We started going out, clubbing and what have you, and I was just enjoying being with the boys and having a single life or what have you. I got into a relationship with another girl. It was a long distance relationship. She was really good to me, but to put the picture, when I coming from a place of shyness and not being able to say boo to a girl, so give eye contact, obviously engaging with the other sex, the female sex, was like talking to, I don't know, talking in a different language. It's just like, do you know what I mean? If you're not love yourself, you're not sure of yourself, and then you're trying to, you want to speak to another girl, it's like, do you know what I mean? It was a massive thing for me. So coming from that background, and then now being of an age, I'm going out and I'm getting attention from girls, and this is like this is like my biggest. I know for most males, anyways, the biggest dream for someone who's coming from a shrine that's getting all this attention from women and stuff. It's just like my biggest dream is like. So I was in this relationship with this girl. She was really good to me, lovely girl, and but I was getting attention from other girls, and coming from the relationship I'd been, that intense relationship, I wanted to have my cake and eat it. I wanted to have, and that's not excusing what I did. That's just giving you the reasons. I'm not saying it's justifications. So I was with this girl. She thought we was in a one-on-one relationship. I was giving her the impression I was in a one-on-one relationship. But whenever attention came my way, I took advantage of that, and I was lying to this girl, blatantly lying to her. She called me up and asked what I'm doing or whatever. I'll be with another girl, and I just blatantly lied to her. Um, but it came to a head where she found out I was with someone else, um, and that kind of all escalated. The end of it, the end of the situation was I got together with my now wife, and she found out about it, and all the rest of it, whatever. Now this girl who's now my wife, she's obviously my wife, but the end doesn't justify the means, and I felt I felt really bad about the way I treated this girl because she didn't. No one deserves to be treated like that, but she didn't, especially didn't deserve to be treated like that. I wanted the comfort of being in a secure, stable relationship, but I also wanted to be have the single life as well. Like I say, I wanted to have my cake and I wanted to eat it as well. Apologies, I've just got a weak connection. I'll try and persevere. Like I said, I wanted to have my cake and I wanted to eat it, and I couldn't have. Well, I chose to have both, but that meant hurting another person. Not pen, that meant keeping another person in the dark about my actions and what I was doing. So I tried to re-establish that relationship with the girl that I cheated on. Um, because most of the relationships I've had with people, I've always ended it on good terms. I don't like to have no bitterness towards anyone. Um, I'm a friendly person most of the time. I'm a likable person most of the time. So I still wanted to have a friendship with this um, particular girl. So I contacted her. I said I was sorry, and I am sorry. It's one of my regrets in life, the way I treated her. Um, she was very good to me, and I just kind of kicked it in the face. She had been through a relationship, intense relationship with someone who treated her really bad, and amongst other things, he cheated on her. And I was seeing myself as being better than this person, but I wasn't. I wasn't better than the person. I was being deceitful. Um, so I was no better than this other person. So I reached out to her to try and seek. I was seeking forgiveness from her. I was guilty about what I'd done. There's nothing I could change about it, but I wanted her to forgive me and to hopefully have some kind of relationship. And there'd be times where she would engage with me. We'd talk to each other. We became friends. I noticed her on Facebook, and we became friends on Facebook. But there'd be times I'd message her and what have you, and she wouldn't respond to me. And it actually got to a case where I had to let go of that friendship, that relationship. So I unfriended her on Facebook, and that was that. And I haven't spoken to her. I haven't spoken to her this day. What kind of lessons did I take away from that, or what did I take away from that? Firstly, no matter how much I tried, no matter how much I prayed, no matter how much I'd done, once I'd done those actions, I couldn't take them back. So doesn't matter how sorry I am, doesn't matter how much I wish I could change the past. We haven't got time teleporting yet, except in the films. Um, I can't change it. I can't change it. So what do I do? What do I do about that? What do I do about that guilt, about a situation I can't change? Also, the other thing is, what do I do about seeking forgiveness from another person where they don't have to forgive me? I was really truly sorry for my actions, but at the end of the day, it's done. It's done. I can't change it. So what can I do to seek forgiveness? Firstly, you've got to be truly, I believe, you've got to be truly sorry for what you've done. Yeah, you've got to be truly sorry. You can't just do something, be flippant about it, and just you want the relationship to continue as it was, or to have that friendship, whatever. And you just carry on as it is. You've got to be truly sorry. You've got to admit that you're wrong. Don't make excuses. And yeah, you can give reasons, but the other person might just see it as you making excuses. Just admit that you're wrong, and just let that other person know that you're truly sorry. That is what you can do. As far as the seeking forgiveness part, I'm afraid that's out of your control. You can't force someone to forgive you. If you're truly sorry in your heart and you're seeking forgiveness, you're seeking that repentance, that's all you can do. And you have to recognize that I'm talking like a parent now. Our actions have consequences. Our actions have some consequences. I could. I've got my boys that have fights with each other. Sometimes they'll get physical with each other. They'll say sorry to each other. Hopefully, the pain is only temporary. It could be a punch in the arm. It hurts for a few seconds, and then that pain goes away, and then that's that. You can move on. Sometimes there's things that happen which will just change people's lives forever, and there there's nothing you can do about it. So in my particular situation, I cheated on my girlfriend at the time. Truly sorry for it. Truly want repentance for it. But I'd hurt her. I left that lasting mark on her, and she chose not to have a friendship. Well, not to have a friendship with me after that, and that's totally her right, totally her prerogative. There's nothing I can do about that. So as much as I wanted to still have a friendship with her, I had to realise that because of my actions, those are the consequences they have. It means I've lost the friendship. So your actions will have consequences. Sometimes they'll have lasting consequences, and there's nothing you can do about it. In terms of seeking forgiveness, by all means you can seek forgiveness, but you can't control the other side, and you just have to accept it is what it is. When we do certain things, they will have certain effects, and that's just life. What do I do with the guilt? What do I do with the guilt? Do I hold on to that guilt? Do I carry it about around like a chain, dragging me everywhere, stopping me from fully living my future, my present, because of this thing I've got, this guilt I hold in the past? Now, as a Christian, I ask God for forgiveness, and He releases that from me. There's a saying, "Forgive, not forget." So I don't forget what I've done, but I've sought forgiveness from God. Not all of you will understand that, what that means. Before I was a Christian, before I come back to faith, there was nothing I could do to change that what I'd done. So I was truly sorry. I approached my girlfriend or my ex-girlfriend now, and said I'm sorry, and then that's it. But what does it serve? What does it serve you to carry that guilt around you? What is it going to do with you? And I know not all of you are of faith, of Christians, but as a Christian, I believe there is a devil out there. His name is Satan, and he revels in using our guilt to hold us back from living in our present and in our future. Is that little voice in your head saying, "Remember when you did that thing? How can anyone ever? It's like how can anyone ever love you again because of what you did? Shame on you." And the devil will just use that just to beat you down and keep you down and keep you down. God does not want that for you. We all make mistakes. Yeah, we tend to grade things. So someone who's committed a murder, we see that person as a worse person than someone who steals something from a shop. So we as human, we grade things, but God sees sin as sin. But He's forgiven. He's forgiven us of all our sins, what we commit today and what we commit tomorrow, if we have the right heart. It's not a flippant. There are some people out there who say they're Christians or believe in God or have a faith, who will commit sin. I think, oh, God will forgive me for that. I can carry on sinning. No, that's not what it's about. It's having a true forgiving heart. And if you come with that and say you're truly sorry for what you've done, God will forgive you, and He will release you from dragging that guilt from you so you can live your life in the present and in the future. So whether you're Christian or not, whatever faith, don't hold on to the guilt. I'm not saying to forget it, but don't hold on to it. It doesn't serve anyone. It will not serve you. It will not serve the other person. Now whether they choose to forgive and forget, that is up to them. But coming from it from the other side, I know that forgiving someone, if you don't forgive someone, it can hold you in bondage as well. And that's probably a message for a different day. Talking about the other side, if someone has done something to you, how do you forgive them and what have you? That's I don't want to mix up the two. I want to be clear on my message tonight. But holding on to guilt would just it would keep you in bondage, I believe. It's kind of like, you might have heard this analogy where you have, I don't know, an ant in a tank, and say the tank is like that, and you've got the ant just keep jumping up and down, and all they keep doing is hitting this tank. And then one day someone removes that tank, but they're so used to just getting that far, they don't realize they can go that far. And there's a bit like that with guilt. If you keep that guilt there, you'll never move on in life. And it's done, is in the past. Sometimes, like I said, there are consequences, because sometimes you want to go down, you do something that's a criminal offence, you will serve time in prison. But what happens if you come out of prison and you're still holding on to that guilt? Some people, talking about my shyness being a weakness, some people will use the bad things they've done for greater good. I know one person in particular, he won't mind me talking about this. His name is John Finlayson. He goes by the name of Finney. He was in prison for a number of offences. He found God while he was in prison, and now what he does, he uses music and his story as a prisoner, as an ex-criminal, to go to prisons up and down the country and talk to him about his faith, how God has forgiven him, and how he's living his life. He's got children. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got beautiful children. The prisoners relate to him because he's been a prisoner as well. He will say little things. He knows the ins and outs of prison life. Rather than if I were to go into the prisons and share my story, it will not have the same impact as Finney, because he's been one of them. So they're more likely to think about changing their life or changing their direction from someone like Finney rather than myself. So he's used things that he has been guilty of, and he's obviously paid his time in prison. He's used that now to inspire and bring other people to faith and to be grasped. If he had the mind, if he was carrying about that chain of guilt, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing now. And that's just an example of what can happen when you release yourself from your guilt. Doesn't serve anyone. And I'm not saying to be flippant about I've done it now and blah blah blah. I'm not saying to forget what you've done. I still, to this day, it's still, I'm sad about the situation that has happened with me and my girlfriend at the time. But there's nothing I can do. That I've lost a friendship. There's nothing I can. Hopefully, I'm guessing she would have moved on and what have you. But there's nothing I can do about it now. All I can do now is do what I'm doing and helping to inspire other people and what have you. But I'm human as well. Everyone sees is human, and I don't ever try to pretend I'm this perfect person. Sometimes you do. Sometimes I do forget. It's so far in the past. I do occasionally forget about it or what have you. Sometimes I think sometimes I'll be righteous. Sometimes I think I'm better than someone or whatever. But it does say, I will do one Bible verse. It says, he without sin cast the first stone. There was a situation with a lady who had sinned and everyone was judging her, and Jesus came and said, they wanted to stone her basically, and Jesus said, he who is without sin cast the first stone. And sometimes we forget. Sometimes when we see something on the news, or we see our politicians and we stand up on our soapboxes and we point fingers, say, you, and we criticize. What about us? We're all guilty of it. What about us? He is without sin cast the first stone. No one could throw that stone because they've all been guilty of sin themselves. Thank you for the love hearts. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm 25 minutes in. I want to keep you guys longer than 30 minutes because I value your time. Where was I? Yeah. So guilt. We don't forget. Seek forgiveness. Release yourself from the burden. Me as a Christian, I get that release from God to allow me to do bigger and greater things, and to learn from that as well, and not to make the same mistakes again as well. So now what I'm doing, hopefully inspiring people and sharing my message with people and all the rest of it, doesn't mean I'm a perfect person. That is really all I've got to say on it, really. I hope sharing that little story will help others. I'm going to jump on some comments, actually. I'm going to welcome some people, actually, as well. Kelly, thank you for joining. Congratulations on the engagement. That's definitely going to bring a Shyman smile. Looking forward to that. Tracy, thank you for joining. Valdo, my work colleague, thank you for joining. Hope you enjoy and hope you find it of use. Kelly says, maybe people can learn from this and not put themselves in the same position again to carry this burden of guilt. Burden is definitely a word of guilt, definitely. Burden. And there is an entity, whether we believe in good and evil, God and Satan, Satan rebels, and this is one of the things he uses to keep you down. One of the other things is that little voice in your head asking if you're good enough to do something. But definitely guilt is one of his major ways of keeping people down, because he doesn't want to see people grow. Doesn't want to see people live life to the full. At the end of the day, God has forgiven all sins. He's taken that when Jesus died on the cross. He's forgiven the sins already, and the devil doesn't want us to realise that. Thank you, Tracy. Great message from what I've heard. Like I said, am I qualified? I said at the beginning, am I qualified to talk about this subject? Have I got educational qualifications? Have I studied this for years and years? No. But I am qualified because I've got my story to share on this, and it's the same for you guys. It's the same for you guys. So for this particular person, I hope this message has helped you. I've given a little bit of theory, but what I'm qualified to talk about is my life and my story of what I've experienced and what lessons I've learned. And hopefully that served you. And this is what I'm here for. This is what I'm doing with Caesar Wisdom. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for the likes, the loves. And this is what I want to do throughout 2017, is to serve you guys. I've got a range of subjects I want to talk about. Things that, I mean, I had a great message for tonight. I had this message come to me. I think about it. I had little refinements to make. That message will be shared. But when I got this request from someone, that's what fuels me. Kelly knows. Kelly had the same thing. When was it, Kelly? About a month or two ago. You're feeling down. You need some uplifting. We did it for you, and I'm not saying we did it because that was a great Facebook Live. That was the power of Facebook Live really showing itself, because other people came on, they interacted. I was just the instigator as such. So, if anyone, or you know of anyone who wants something that they want me to talk about, if I'm qualified, hopefully you know what I mean by that, I will talk about it, and predominantly it will just come from my life, sharing stuff. And this is what life should be all about. Taking our struggles, taking our pains, taking our weaknesses, pushing past them, and inspiring others, or having others realise that there are other people going through this. Sometimes we see people, public speakers, professionals, people at the top, and we think the life's all glossy, it's all sorted out. But everyone has had some pain in their lives. Everyone has been through some struggles, and sometimes it just helps to know that someone else has gone through something that you've been through. What are we on? On 30 minutes, 15 seconds. On that, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you guys for your comments. I hope this has helped you. Next week is the 10th. I'm flying to Ghana on the 11th for my dad's funeral. Some of you will know. I'm not going to go on and on about it. He wasn't around in my life a lot. Forgiveness and guilt has played a big part in that. So God willing, I'm planning to bring Seeds of Wisdom next week. But we'll see. I don't know. There's going to be, that's going to be a huge experience for me. It's going to be a huge experience for me. So we'll see. If I'm not next week, it'll definitely be, God willing, the week after. Tracy says, we are not alone in what we've been through. Exactly. Whatever you're going through, there's probably been someone, at least one other person who's gone through what you've been through. So share what you're going through. Don't keep it to yourself. That's another thing the devil likes to do. He wants us to keep things to ourselves. If we're suffering, whatever, he wants us to keep things to ourselves. There's some people who are going through so much guilt, who are Christians, who believe, they truly believe this. If they go to church with all this guilt, that they literally will go up in flames. It's just not true. Release yourself from this guilt. Thank you, Tracy, for that message. Thank you. Yeah, any prayers, please send them my way. I need them. But on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much. First one of the year. It's an honour and a blessing to be able to, for someone to ask me to speak on this. I hope I've done you justice. So on that note, Shyman smile. Video's frozen. I'm out. Take care. See you later. Bye.